Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving into the story of the 1981 cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Memorial Penny. This little copper-colored coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but it has an incredible history, an important place in American coinage, and in some cases can be worth much more than just a single cent. Let us begin with the history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head penny and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of the symbolic figures that had been used before. On the front side, or obverse, you see the bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials VDB are hidden on the shoulder of the portrait on modern issues. The reverse side of the penny went through a major change in 1959. To celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday, the wheat ears on the back were replaced with the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design is what you will see on the 1981 cent coin. Look closely at the memorial and you will even see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside, making this coin one of the few that shows the same person on both the front and the back. Now let's focus on the year 1980 itself. By this time, the Lincoln Memorial design had been in use for more than 20 years. The 1980 penny was still made mostly of copper, with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This is very important because just a couple of years later, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a cheaper composition of copper-plated zinc due to rising copper prices. So the 1980 penny belongs to the final generation of solid copper cents, which collectors value highly today. There were 3 mints striking the 1 cent coin in 1980. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 7.4 billion coins without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced more than 5 billion coins with a D mint mark. The San Francisco Mint created proof coins with the S mint mark, made especially for collectors, in much smaller numbers of about 3.5 million. Altogether, more than 12 billion 1 cent coins were minted in 1980, showing how heavily pennies circulated in everyday life. Now let us talk about the value. Most 1980 pennies that you find in circulation are still worth just 1 cent, maybe a few cents if they are in nicer condition, because so many were made. However, collectors pay special attention to uncirculated and high-grade examples. A brilliant red uncirculated penny from 1980 can fetch anywhere from $1 to as much as $50 depending on the grade. Proof coins from San Francisco are especially desirable when they are perfectly preserved, with some examples selling for more than $100. But what really excites collectors are errors and varieties. For the 1981 cent coin, there are examples with doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and other unusual mistakes from the minting process. These errors can transform a simple penny into a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. Now let's think about the bigger picture. At the time these coins were minted, they were worth 1 cent, but the copper content alone today is worth more than face value. In fact, the melt value of a pre-1982 copper penny is over 2 cents because of the high price of copper metal. Multiply that by billions of coins, and you can see why these old copper pennies hold such a big worth in circulation. People save them because they are worth more than their face value and because they are disappearing from everyday use as newer zinc pennies take over. So to sum it all up, the 1981 cent coin carries a rich history as part of the long-running Lincoln cent series. It represents one of the last solid copper issues before the big change of 1982. In circulation it may seem ordinary, but in high grades, proofs, or rare error varieties it can be worth much more than a cent. And with billions made, its role in American commerce cannot be understated. Next time you come across a 1980 penny, take a moment to look closer. Check the mint mark, check the condition, and keep an eye out for those rare errors. You never know when you might be holding a tiny treasure in your hand. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video about the 1981 cent coin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into coins that could be hiding real value in your change.